This podcast is a part of the Podmania Podcasting Network. Check out podmania.co.uk to check out more of our great podcasts, features, reviews, match ratings and previews spanning the crazy and diverse world of professional wrestling. Guys, and welcome to another episode of the Stardom Cast, your monthly audio source for all things World Wondering Stardom, right here on the Podmania Podcasting Network, and also now on the Dragon Suplex Network. Thank you to Wolf and to Conrad for having us on there. I am your host, Rob Good, and I am joined as ever by Chris O'Brien. Chris, how the devil are you?
I'm all right. It's been a week when nothing's, well, most weeks nowadays, weeks when nothing really happens because the world is on fire. But yeah, for fake fighting, it's been really good this week. Some really good matches, especially in Noah and Stardom, which we'll be getting to. Well, Stardom, we don't talk about Noah here, but also. And this is weird for me. It was a bit of a shit week for real fighting because the UFC card kind of disappointed me.
I didn't know you were a fan of the UFC, Chris.
I watch the main pay-per-views. I don't watch the fight nights because I don't care. I want to see the champion. I'm a casual UFC fan, but like the O'Malley match, and I really like O'Malley, but like he broke his leg, so he got knocked out fairly quickly because so he had to fight with a bust leg, and then the Cormier, I can't say his name, Mishokvik match. They were both making mistakes. People that making errors in terms of like fouls that someone of their caliber shouldn't be doing. But yeah, it was still fine. I didn't hate it. The undercard was good. We had one really good knockout. But other than that, yeah, just meh.
I learn something new about you every day, Chris.
I'm pretty sure we've talked about how I watch UFC before. I'm pretty sure we must have talked about it at some point. I could have sworn. Oh, no, never mind. I just showed you have Chris from the UFC video game.
Yes, you did. For those who don't know, Chris was playing UFC 3 and decided to make himself up on the game, and hasn't quite mastered the art of creating a character or creating a fighter in the UFC game, and proceeded to send the picture to the group chat, presuming that myself and Garth would be full of praise for his fighter, when in fact this thing has the biggest head you have ever seen on a human body. It was to the point of caricature, and me and Garth saw it straight. Chris still can't see how mammoth a Swede this thing has.
Yet has never been knocked out. Has been submitted a lot. I'm not very good at the submission minigame, but has never been knocked.
It's because he's got a head made of stone.
I mean, he's the Stone Pitbull. I'm much better at making characters in wrestling games.
Where things are inherently cartoonish.
Yes.
So, obviously, we've got a lot to talk about on this podcast, but before we do, I just want to quickly say a thank you on behalf of myself and Chris, and because it's taken me absolutely fucking ages to actually get on to record tonight due to my computer deciding it wanted to update to Microsoft Edge, and apparently that is a 3-hour fucking endeavour. I just wanted to say a thank you, because August already, as we record, it's the 17th of August. July was a really great month for the Stardom Cast in terms of downloads, massive acceleration in downloads, and it was quite incredible. And August already is our highest month of downloads, and we're only halfway through the month. So I just wanted to say thank you. It's been amazing. I've from not really registering Stardom until December of 2019 to doing a podcast that I love doing, and to have people that actually listen to it as well, listen to two fucking idiots talk about something they barely know anything about. It's great. So thank you to everyone that listens, everyone that interacts with us on Twitter, interacts with us in the Discord. We really, really do appreciate it. So yeah, that's my little thank you. I just wanted to get that out of the way before we start with what has, Chris, been 2 very, very, very good days of wrestling in terms of Stardom.
Yeah, they've been about, like what I said, I think I said this about 5-Star when we were previewing it. You don't expect match of the year contenders, like to the level that you'd expect from like a G1 where they're happening seemingly every day. Like you maybe get a couple throughout the tournament, but like the floor is so much higher on a 5-Star just because the time limit, I know it went up this year, but the time limit really does help in ways I don't think people understand because it means matches, even if they're bad, are finished relatively quickly. Whereas in the G1, you're going to be stuck with a 15-minute bad luck Fale match. And no thank you.
No, and this is something that I'm going to comment on throughout the 2 nights, actually. They've let matches breathe where they've needed to breathe, but matches that haven't necessarily needed to overstay their welcome and, much have come around to the Death Yama-san gimmick. Nobody wants to see a 17-minute Death Yama-san match.
Or
what?
I want to see that just to see you. I feel like your rant will be longer than the match.
No, do you know what? She's the comedy. I can get on board with that. And again, Stardom have booked it really, really well. No match here on these 2 nights, I feel, has outstayed its welcome. It's finished at the right time. And I think every single wrestler has really benefited from that, from having the time to tell these little stories throughout the matches, because in a tournament you can sort of get caught up in it's just a tournament match, they're fighting for points, but Stardom have booked it so well that you've got little stories into either, you've got little character developments, going through, especially these first 2 days, and I hope they carry on throughout the tournament, but it's something I am going to comment on, especially with a couple of the bigger names in the tournament, Chris.
Yeah, I feel one match outstayed its welcome, and I'll get to that when we get to that. But for the most part, it's very easy watching. Like top to bottom, for about, including promos and entrances, for about 2 hours. If you take out entrances and promos, you can probably get through them all in about 90 minutes, and like for 2 days. And it's amazing because that's one New Japan main event, and I come out of this feeling a lot more satisfied.
Okada and his 90-minute matches.
Yeah, you can fuck off. I want more Saiyada.
Well, we're going to talk about her because Jesus Christ, if ever there was a breakout in this tournament, for me, it's her. Because, and we should just mention here that originally it was due to be Saki Kashima, who was in the Blue Stars sort of league, or block, should I say. And unfortunately, she had to pull out. It was fairly vague as to why she pulled out. It just said that she wasn't healthy enough. So, we send nothing but best wishes to Saki. We hope she gets better soon. In fact, it was only the previous podcast episode where I was full of praise for her for a working ring. So I hope she gets better soon. But that has given the opportunity to Saiyada, who has, of course, taken up that mantle and is now in the Blue Stars sort of block. And for me, has completely knocked it out of the park on both those opening matches. But we'll get on to Saiyada in a minute. Before we get into the whole of, reviewing the 2 nights, I just want to quickly recap what the 5-Star is for those people who are listening and don't quite know what the 5-Star is, which is absolutely fine. The 5-Star Grand Prix, you'll get quite a lot of people who just refer to it as Stardom's G1 Climax. It's 2 blocks, the Blue Stars and the Red Stars, and each of those are a round-robin block. So every wrestler will wrestle everyone in that block, with each of the winners from each block, so the winner from Blue Stars and the winner from Red Stars, they will go head-to-head in the final to win the 5-Star Grand Prix. In the event of tiebreakers, it will default to head-to-head results. There are time limits, so it's 20-minute time limits for the block matches, with the final getting a limit of 30. And then points-wise, for a win, you get 2 points. Obviously, you get nothing for a loss. And for a draw, you get 1 point. Ordinarily, the winner of the 5-star will get a championship opportunity. Tends to be the World of Stardom Championship. So yeah, it's a highly coveted tournament. It's Stardom's biggest tournament, and it's great fun. Really good fun, Chris. Before we go into the review, is there anything you want to add to that?
There's no Arisa, so this year fucking sucks.
If Arisa had been in this, I do think that they had very, very high hopes for her, but unfortunately, obviously, circumstances changed. There are, previous winners include Hana Kimura. I think Mayu's won it.
May didn't cash it in.
May won and didn't cash it in. That doesn't surprise me. She probably forgot, which seems to be her character at the moment. Just an absolute fool. But yeah, it's a very prestigious tournament in terms of Stardom. So with it, let's stop talking. Let's get into it because, good God, I'm looking forward to talking about this. So from the 8th of August, which was night one from Korakuen Hall, in front of 445 people, we opened with Rina defeating Hina with the Hydrangea in 4 minutes and 31 seconds. We're not going to review the non-tournament matches because, good grief, we have got enough with the actual tournament matches to watch. So, kicking straight in then, match 2 from the Red Stars block saw Starlight Kid in her first 5-star tournament defeating Death Yamasan with the Kichan Bomb at 3 minutes and 31 seconds. Chris, what did you think of this match?
Not much. It was a tad botchy in places, as is Death, which is typical in high-speed matches because they're going a million miles an hour. But it was fun. It was that high-speed division match. I have no strong feelings towards it. I didn't take many notes, to be honest. Just, not all of them can hit out of the park, which is just fine. But there's nothing really to talk about.
No, I agree. I did notice, however, for the first time, I think, I've actually seen Death Yamasan's entrance video, and it is just her slow headbanging with a guitar, which is just, it's the best. Absolutely fantastic. Just your standard high-speed match. I can see Death Yamasan playing a potential spoiler in that sort of Yano role in that block. When that will come in, I don't know, but yeah, I can see that happening. I just gave it 4 stars. It was what it was, but you can't really give a match that only went a shade over 3 minutes much more than that, Chris. Yeah,
I agree with you. 4 out of 10. Just nothing special, but nothing offensive. Depending, because Death Yamasan does have death face, but yeah.
We move on to the next match then, which was, of course, from the Blue Stars group. We had Azumi defeating Saiyada with the arm breaker at 8 minutes and 3 seconds. Chris, your opinion, please.
Azumi's been really good. Although this match wasn't blow away, but she's against a rookie, so you can't really expect that. But yeah, Azumi's flashy offense sort of offset well against Saya's sort of simple. I'd say rookie-esque, but she sort of reminds me more of a Nishi than a rookie. She seems to take it all in her stride. But yeah, Azumi just sort of gets it, the way she just can sort of get into moves out of nowhere, but having it still seem seamless. That's harder than most people give credit for. How Zack Sabre Jr., for example, he can go into random submissions out of nowhere. It's doing that out of nowhere is really hard, and when Azumi goes into an armbar, half the time you don't see it coming, so it's an art. But yeah, she was basically just bumping around a rookie for this match, which was fine, but again, there's not a ton to talk about with this one either.
No, I enjoyed the cockiness and arrogance of Azumi to begin with. She was very dismissive of Saiyada, as I suppose you would be of a rookie who wasn't even supposed to be in the tournament. But Saiyada, she held her own with the strikes and things like that. And I enjoyed the chemistry that they had. The speed of Azumi and the sort of guerrilla power of Saiyada. I'm never going to not enjoy Azumi and the way she gets into those arm bars, because every match, and we're going to get into this on night 2. Every night she seems to have a different way of getting into this armbar. That Mystica where she just flips round Saiyada into the arm breaker is just absolutely phenomenal. She's on the cusp of being an absolute star. I mean, she's 17, and the match she has with Momo and the speed at which she wrestles is phenomenal. I see big things in her future. Yeah, sure, this match was a little bit botchy. I mean, there was one moment where Azumi physically had to move Saiyada in place by her hair, which was, quite entertaining. And then there was one moment where I think Saiyada dropped Azumi at one point, and there was a bit where they collided with the ropes, and just things like that. But overall, it didn't impact the match for me. I enjoyed the very simplistic story that they were telling. Azumi is arrogant, Saiyada is the rookie, Saiyada needs to prove herself, which is probably going to be a theme throughout this entire tournament. But overall, a really enjoyable match. I gave it 6 stars, Chris.
Yeah, I gave it high 5, low 6. I have no real strong feelings towards it. Yeah, it's weird. I used to think Saiyada was the best Saya, but tall Saya has been improving at a higher rate. I guess Saiyada had a more solid base to build from. So tall Saya getting better faster makes sense because she's had to get up to that. These are weird rambling thoughts only just caught into my head right now.
Are we just getting this stream of consciousness of you?
Yeah, well, that's what this podcast is. That's what you hired me for. It's like you never listened to the Young Lions.
Let's move on then. So we move on to the next match, Red Star Block, with Konami defeating Saya Kamitani with the triangle choke at 8 minutes and 6 seconds. Chris, what did you think of this? Did you enjoy Konami absolutely brutalizing poor Saya?
Yeah, I kind of enjoy Saya getting beaten up. But I know that sounds mean, but I kind of just do. It's one of the small pleasures I get out of life right now. And Konami's my biggest problem with Konami is that she was bland, but she's not. And as soon as Stardom came back, she's been great. She's been one of the highlights since coming back. And someone like Konami is someone who can sort of put on a great match with anyone just because of her style, how she wrestles. Kicks and submissions, anyone can be sort of forced to work that style. Unless Torsaya decides not to sell, I'm still not over that. But yeah, this is probably the first honest to God above average match in the 5-star, and it only gets better from here. But yeah, I just older people brutalizing younger people. I'll say it forever. That's why Eugene Gat is one of my favorites. But it's not a dynamic you get often in Stardom. But I like it here. I like rookies getting beaten up. So
I'm calling it now. Konami is absolutely turning in Yokohama during that match with Oida Tai. There is absolutely no way she's not. The way she's carrying herself recently, the way that she literally tore her arm away from the referee when he was trying to put it up for the victory and just stormed off. There was no thrills, there was no frills, there was no posing to the crowd. She just walked off straight away. The way that she was almost psychopathically taking apart Saya, absolutely amazing. The strikes seemed crisp. I really enjoy the fact that she didn't finish it with the buzzsaw kick or the triangle lancer. It was something completely different that finished it. Saya... sorry, go on, Chris.
I think more people should do that. I think more people should have, that's what makes someone like Walter or Timothy Thatcher so special, is that they don't have one move that can put you away. Any of their moves can put you away completely randomly. And I've seen people try and argue that makes finishing move less special, but, finishes are weird. When you think about it, it's weird that everyone has this one move that would always finish a match. You know what I mean? It's something that can only really happen in wrestling. So when you add that sort of tinge to it, which I think the Konami character can sort of pull off, it makes that particular person stand out. And if anyone's going to do that in Stardom, I think Konami's it.
It shows adaptability. It's something that really, really engages me in a match, and it's something that I want to talk about actually in the main event of night 2. The adaptability of wrestlers and the ability to adapt to a situation, to certain situations. Speaking of Saya, we've talked about a load. She's improving every match. she does still need to learn to sell. I mean, in the moment when she's actually being brutalized, we've got the screaming, she's selling great, she's selling beautifully. But then, as no sooner has she stopped selling the completely brutal assault of Konami, that she's doing handstands and handsprings and drop kicks and things like that. And there's just little bits like that she needs to improve. And again, she's still technically just above a rookie, so she has got time.
She's only been in front of a crowd for since November.
Exactly. She's got loads and loads of time. Again, overall, it didn't particularly take me out of the match much because, if I'm being perfectly honest, I was too busy watching Konami, and the fact that she was, like I say, completely battering Xia without really blinking, which is a little bit scary. A little bit insane, crazy person, but I love it, and if that's the direction we're going with Konami, which it looks like it's a very different direction than Jungle Kiona's going, I'm all for that because
Konami's winning.
because brutal Konami is best Konami. 6 stars, Chris, again.
Yeah, 6 out of 10. But I think that's going to be Tosai's ceiling, unless she's going up against someone like Starlight, who's not going to be targeting a limb, but everyone else tends to target limbs. So,
yeah,
which is not for someone who hasn't learned how to sell yet.
And again, that might seem like a lowish grade. It's not. It's above half marks. It's a Meltzer 2.5 stars. It's your standard. And I think for where Xia is now, that's perfect. That's where she needs to be. Because much as it would be a complete shock, she's not winning the 5-star, is she? Let's be bloody honest. But
well, who knows?
Who knows in this crazy world? Evil is the double champion.
I mean, the two leaders of the leader of Red Stars and the leader of Blue Stars are rookies. So.
Well, yeah, we're going to get into that in a minute. And actually, that's a lovely transition, Chris. Let's move on to the next match, Blue Stars, with Maika defeating Momo Watanabe with the Kata Hajime. Yes, I practiced saying that, and I've probably said it wrong, so I apologise. At 8 minutes and 12 seconds. The first real shock of the 5-star Grand Prix 2020, Chris.
Yeah, I think Momo getting choked out was a good idea because, one, it makes her seem vulnerable, which is always a good dynamic to have going in. Think Jay White and Naito in the G1 last year. Maika needed a big win, and Momo is objectively one of the biggest wins she could have gotten. I don't think she could have got a bigger win in her block than Momo.
Not when Momo is tipped as many people's pick for the actual entire tournament.
Yeah. But getting choked out, yeah, because how many people try and choke you out in Stardom? It's basically just her and Konami. So, that makes sense. That's not something you can always adjust for. Other than that, it was basically their match from Korakuen last month, which I'm not saying is a bad thing, but it was a good match. Momo delivers bombs like no one else, which is great. And I think Momo losing here will give her an axe to grind after the 5-star, which is good. I like getting direction before that. But although I think she's going to have more of a feud with Suri because that's been built up in tags, but also, yeah, I guess it's too early to predict where things are going. But losing to a rookie does leave room for matches outside the 5-star, which again can only be good for Maika because it'll help her get better.
We talk quite a lot about how the promos at the start of these things are often throwaway, but are sometimes very, very important. And it helps that Stardom World has them translated into English. You knew Maika was winning when she dedicated the match to her nephew for his first birthday, because if she did that and then lost, that's a bit of a dickhead move from Stardom. This is for your first birthday, a big loss at the hands of Momo.
Are you telling me that's the key to just suddenly Maika's going to have about 10 cousins, all of which were born, just so happened to have been born a year to the day before all her 5-star matches?
100%, yes. She's going to dedicate every match going forward to one of her nephews.
It's like that one guy in every office who has like 5 grandmas who have died.
Because they want to get a day off work. Oh, we've all used that, mate. We've all used that. But it wasn't actually the Micah promo I wanted to talk about. It's the Momo one, because the way Momo conducted herself, she was slouched back in her seat. She talked about how, it's not going to be difficult. I've already beaten Micah literally a few days ago. That was literally her promo. And that complacency was wonderful, because for a start, Micah came out like a house on fire in this match, which was something Momo was not expecting. Momo thought she had it won with the double knees from the top rope, which beat Micah at Korakuen last month. But this time Micah kicks out, and you could see that Momo was getting rattled. The more that Micah hit her, the more that Momo couldn't swing the momentum. You saw Momo in a more desperate state, and this win for Micah, not only does it legitimize Micah, she's the future of Stardom champion. She is the future. She shouldn't be beating Momo Watanabe, who is very much in the upper echelon of the Stardom roster. It's great for her. It's wonderful for her. And it's a shot in the arm that Momo needs going into the tournament, because she's got some fucking difficult matches coming up. She's got Jungle Kiona on the final day. She's got Utami. She's still got Suri. She's got some really, really difficult matches. So this was, for me, a really, really good result. Not a result I predicted, and it spoilt my pick'ems, but yeah, a really, really, really good match.
I only ever fill out pick'ems for round robins when I'm drunk, because, quite frankly, you're as likely to win that way than anything else.
Well, at the moment, and yes, I am calling out at Niagara Driver 93. Niagara Driver, I am fucking coming for you, because we are joint 5th at the moment, and the Voices of Wrestling Stardom 5-star Grand Prix pick'ems. I am coming for you, Niagara Driver.
I didn't enter, but me and Rob are collective. Yeah, Niagara Driver, you prick.
You're just tagging on to me.
Yeah, because I didn't fill it out in time, so I'm just your picks are my picks. Fuck you, Niagara Driver.
We love you, Niagara Driver. Legitimately, you are amazing. Anyway, let's move on then, because I gave that 6. Chris, what did you give that?
I gave that high 6 or 7. I think that I did really like this. I think the shock of Micah winning sort of gave it an edge to their one last month. I do wish, you mentioned the cockiness in the promo. I kind of wish that translated to an entrance, which it didn't really. I'm going to bring this match up as much as I can for the rest of the year until you watch it. But Swama versus Kento Miyahara, Kento Miyahara came out and you could just see how cocky he was, because of course Swama wasn't going to beat him. I think if that was going to be the story, she should have got that across during her entrance, because the people in the crowd won't have seen the promo.
Ooh, Kento. Love you, Kento.
Right. I do. I don't know why you're mocking me. I make no
such a Kento Miyahara mark.
I don't pretend that I'm not.
How can you give Tall Saya grief for not selling, and then just openly gush about Kento Miyahara?
Kento Miyahara's gotten a lot better at his selling.
He had to be fair. Didn't have much choice, mate.
He did have to. But I don't know, I think Kento's is less egregious than fucking a million somersaults after getting your arm worked over.
Admittedly, that was a bit steep, yes. Let's move on then. Match 6 was another match from the Blue Stars block, with Suri defeating Natsuko Tora at 13 minutes and 21 seconds with a buzzsaw kick. And Chris, we had the return, a surprise return in this match. I don't know if you noticed. It was the return of Screamy Suri. God, I haven't missed her.
God, you think she was bad tonight, that night? You should see her in the fucking jungle match the next day. But yeah, to be honest, I did not notice Screamy Suri until you pointed it out, and now I can't not notice it. So thanks for that. You have adversely affected my enjoyment of one of the best wrestlers in the Stardom roster.
Yeah, I will just tag on to that both of Suri's matches are 2 of the better matches. Much as I've openly openly dissed Oida Tai and Natsuko Tora. I thought she was really good here. There was minimal chain bullshit. She did do a rather ill-advised top rope leg drop with the chain wrapped around the leg, which, kudos for trying something new, but that looked a little bit ridiculous, especially as the chain instantly fell down as she went for the jump. So a little bit of nonsense there, but
it was something different. But like, in the same sense, if you have a row of spoons and one of them's bent, like, just because you're different doesn't mean you're good.
I mean, to be fair, we have been crying out for Oida Tai to try something different. So the fact that we had literally very, very little nonsense is something.
I think what Tora should have been wasn't realised for the next night, but we'll get to that. I think the brawler aspect of Tora's character offset really well against the sort of submission, kick-heavy Shiori one. So I think like it was a nice little mismatch, nothing blow away. But like, yeah, Shiori was obviously the better part of this match, but I think Shuri as a favourite to go far, if not go to the finals. I think Tora makes the perfect obstacle because, like, yeah, she could probably beat anyone. She just doesn't because she's stupid. Again, we'll go on to that in night two. But yeah, again, minimal bollocks, and it turned out to be good. Who knew that Natsuko Tora was a good wrestler? We all kind of knew it, but yeah, the one problem here is like none of Tora's offense really popped. Like, it was all fine, but, like, her offense never really popped.
No. The offensive maneuvers that she does that pop, she does against Utami. And like I say, we're going to get into that match. But here, it was basic, but I enjoyed the fact that we weren't relying on the chain and ref bumps and all sorts of nonsense. I agree with you. I think Shiori's getting deep. I can see Shiori being in the mix on that last night. I don't think she's winning it, and the only reason I say she's not winning it is because she's got a championship match with Mayu in Yokohama on the 22nd, I think. So, I don't see that coming, to be perfectly honest. But all in all, a good match. The biggest pop of the match was Suri taking Tora's head off with that buzzsaw kick, which got a massive pop. I gave it 6. It was good. It's not going to be breaking anyone's match of the year contender. It was there. It did a job, and it's put Shiori over, as does the match the next night, as a legitimate contender in this tournament.
Yeah, let's put her over. And again, if you can get nowadays, if you can get a passable match out of Tora, you're my hero. So,
match 7, we have got Red Stars action with Himika defeating Tam Nakano at 16 minutes and 17 seconds with the running powerbomb. One of the best things that this tournament has done so far is solidify Himika as a real, legitimate threat.
Yeah, again, I think we're doing this early to use it as a spoiler later on, because I don't think she's going to go too incredibly far. But like her leading this early on is sort of good, in the same way that Yano leading early on last year.
Are you comparing Himika to Tori Yano?
Yeah, but like she defeated both her faction leader the next night, spoilers, and she defeated a proper contender here. So in terms of establishing her, she's well established now. It's sort of like, sorry, I'm going to draw more G1 comparisons than 5-star, because this is only my second 5-star. But Ishii in G1 20, whatever his first one was, I think it was like 22-23. 22-23. And he beat Tanahashi and Shibata in his first 2 nights, which sort of solidified him, and then he went on to lose his block. But yeah, this is good. Like Tam chopping down Himika was really good, and then it was basically just brute strength versus experience, which is always a fun little story to be had. But yeah, I feel like Tam wasn't fully on it here, which I don't mean in terms of effort. I mean just there was something missing for Tam here, and I'm not quite sure what it was, because it was there the next night. But yeah, this is good. This is really, really good, actually. Like, again, the story of Tam trying to bring Himika down to her size, it's sort of perfect for the two characters. And of course, Tam couldn't put Himika away because Tam can't pick her up. So.
Himika started by saying that Tam is not the cutest in the universe, and in the ring she's going to make her look like the worst in the universe. Well, snap. Absolutely. Some sass there from Himika. I really enjoyed the chemistry between these two. I thought Himika, before this match, because obviously we've seen a little bit of singles action, but it's mainly been in 8-woman tags. We've seen her as almost a bodyguard, that sort of role. And here we've seen her as so much more. I mean, in this match alone, she's looking to work the back of Tam Nakano. And, though Tam's selling is a little bit inconsistent, she can't then bridge for the Tiger Suplex. So it paints Himika as an intelligent fighter, not just, this behemoth in the division that you can't pick up, you can't slam, you've got to try and grind down. And that makes her so much more of a threat. She's not only throwing bombs, but she knows what she's doing. She's thinking about it. She's got a game plan. That's fucking terrifying. You're right, there were a few whiff spots. There was one moment where Tam came off the top rope with a knee and just missed entirely, but bless Himika for trying to sell it. Again, and I will say this in the next match as well, I will never not be invested in a Himika match because of the facials. She emotes so fucking well. You are so, she feels everything. She is so invested in her matches that you just, no matter how badly they come off or how well they come off, you can tell that she is into it. She is trying to tell a story, and I absolutely love that. As I said before, I think Tam is a great opponent for Himika, someone who'll bump circles for her and make her look great. I gave it 7 because not only did it cement Himika as a force to be reckoned with, sort of build that platform for Night 2, but it also, it told a little bit of a story. And yeah, I really enjoyed it.
I give it 7 too. I do think Himika very much looks like she's trying to tell a story, but sometimes, especially in the match the next night, she sort of smiles too much, especially doing her entrance. She doesn't have it down pat, which makes sense because she's still, in essence, a rookie. So, I'm not calling her on that. That's just an area I think she can improve. She's clearly trying, but her trying isn't the issue. She just needs to learn to get better, which she will, because most people get better under Stardom. So
yeah, absolutely. Do you mind if I go first on this next match? Just because I've got some thoughts.
Okay.
I'm going to do it anyway. It was just polite of me to ask because I'm British. So match 8 then, the semi-main event of the night, the Blue Stars match of Utami Hayashishita defeating Jungle Kiona at 14 minutes and 38 seconds with the German suplex. Now, I absolutely loved this match because you've got this real story with Jungle, her desperation to prove herself in the face of everything that has happened, the way she signed off on that defeat to Mayu, that whole I am worthless, I am useless, I'm not worthy to be here, and that's obviously her mindset. Then it was compounded by the loss to Utami and Saya for the tag straps at Korakuen. The look of panic on her face every time Utami hit a signature move, because she just did not want to lose, trying out new things to try and change her look by, that horrible fucking powerbomb on the apron, which Utami looked like she took all on her shoulders, grabbing the ref when she was hit with the torture rack bomb. She wouldn't have done that in Nagoya, but, she does not want to lose. She does not want to continue to feel like this failure she's been made to feel like. But it's not enough. She loses again. And this storytelling, this frustration at the loss, she's punching the mat. She's so frustrated at herself that this entire evolution of Jungle is compelling. It really, really is. And for me, it's one of the most compelling things in this 5-star. And I can't wait to see it manifest after Yokohama. Because, as we record, it's the 17th, and I believe the first day of Yokohama is the 22nd. Once we've got the 5-star post Yokohama, and once we've got a clear idea of, what Tokyo Cyber Squad is doing and how that affects the members of Tokyo Cyber Squad, I think we're going to see an even bigger story arc for Jungle.
Yeah, I also love this match. Not only for the Jungle reasons you gave, but also Utami was a fucking star in this match. Like, she was an absolute brute. Holy fuck. Like, carrying around Jungle like she weighs nothing. Like, literally like she weighs nothing. Like, people say that a lot in wrestling, but like here, it actually felt like that. She was like walking around in the deadlift German position, and I'm like, Jesus fucking Christ. Like, stop it. She's already dead. We had a buckle bomb fairly early on here, which, ouch. No, yeah, this is just my kind of match. I love a good horse match, me, and like in Joshi terms, this is about what a horse match would be. And there was a fighting spirit German spot, which I'm always up for. Like, just keep getting up and throwing each other around. It's kind of just what I like in wrestling. Seriously. Like, I can't put over Utami's strength enough here, because her and Jungle are roughly the same size, and she's pulling around like she's nothing, like she's absolutely nothing. I kind of wish Jungle Utami were in the same block as Himeka, just because I kind of want to see that. I kind of want to see Utami lift Himeka around like she's nothing.
It would be very, very impressive. I feel like she's going to do well in this tournament, Utami, and I feel like she's another one that has got really, really big things in store. I mean, for me, she's a future World of Stardom champion. There's no way that she isn't. She's got the look, she's got the charisma. You know, you believe every word she says. She's not exactly frills in her offense, but she's just an absolute bruiser, and it works so well. Like you said, that spot where they were just literally tossing each other over their heads was beautiful, absolutely beautiful.
Yeah, but I feel so sorry for Jungle right now, because they're having a bit of a redemption arc, but like, just based on her history, I can't help but feeling like it might go nowhere and she'll just keep losing.
Jungle is this?
Yeah.
Oh, I hope not. I really, really hope not. Do you really think that's what's going to happen? Just no story? She just keeps losing?
That could be. You never know. Like, they might end up deciding, like, okay, we have nowhere to go. Because I don't know how popular she is in Japan. I don't know if she's incredibly popular over here. Although, her match on the second night was probably the loudest of both nights.
You see, you're probably right. Yeah, I just think they've done so much work with Jungle here. You know, and again, the story that they were telling in the ring, you know, the way that she's desperate, she's trying new things, you know, the way that Mayu loss especially affected her, to then just throw it away would be really, really sad.
Yeah, because that promo, it still gets me.
It's heartbreaking. Heartbreaking.
Yeah, maybe. I'm trying to think when this redemption arc, because that's like when we talk about like redemption arcs in like New Japan or WWE or basically anywhere, there's always like, well, there's the big show on the horizon, so like Mania, Kingdom, I guess Double or Nothing if it's AEW, etc., a takeover if it's NXT, and Stardom doesn't really have that. Like, they sort of, with the exception of this Budokan show, which is basically just because they need a big crowd while being socially distanced, they only ever run Korakuen, so it's like no end goal. It's weird, so it makes it harder to call, which A, makes it more exciting, but B, also makes it harder to write, which makes me think they could possibly give up.
Positivity, Chris. They're not going to do that. Positivity. We're a positive podcast. We are going to be positive. Anyway.
But yeah, this is definitely match of night one for me. This is just great. This is what I want, and I literally did not realize until the second day that there was a 15-minute time. There was a 20-minute time limit this year, because this match felt short. Like, this match didn't feel long, but it went over 15 for this, and all the better for it. High 8 for me. Great stuff.
Agree with you completely. 8 stars, and yeah, for me it was match of the night as well. Storytelling and for both workers' in-ring performance. So let's move on to the main event of night 1 then, which saw the Red Stars action. Sorry, I've put RS and I couldn't work out what RS was then. Red Stars action, Julia defeating Mayu Iwatani at 17 minutes and 28 seconds with the glorious Driver 2. Chris, talk to me.
So how are you feeling, Rob? No. So Julia versus May, champion versus champion, obviously. That's about as far as my thoughts on this match went. It was really good. It's like a standard almost Stardom main event. One of Julia's better matches, not one of May's, though. Because May she can't miss this year. The only bad match, well, not even bad, the only like sub-great singles match she's had all year is against Saki. And that's because it was at No People Gate. So, yeah, this is really good stuff. Both women throwing bombs at each other. Like, it had the aura of a champion versus champion match. And having sort of in kayfabe the lesser champion go over helps solidify them, helps keep the block more open if May was going to win the next night. So, yeah, I did really like it. I really like one of the highest backdrops I've seen all year. Like, there's a backdrop from Julia, and May got so much height on it that I thought she died, which happens at least once every May match. But as in, like, looking like May died, not the backdrop driver. But yeah, like, Julia played her role as sort of a big, imposing secondary champion going up against the ace figure in May. So, yeah, I've no real complaints about it, apart from I'm still not feeling any charisma from Julia. Like, she eludes nothing. It's like when someone asks me what I think of shelves they built, and I'm like, what sort of emotion am I meant to put on a shelf? You know what I mean? Like, it's a fucking shelf. That's what Julia is continuously is for me. Like, I think she needs to be somewhere in there. Every time she's in there with someone special, like Mayu is, it's really good. But as a main person, I'm not feeling Julia, which I'll get onto more on the second night.
I think we have differing feelings about that.
Yeah, we definitely do.
I feel there's a real arrogance about Julia at the moment, and I've seen from quite a few sources that, you know, people feeling that she's being over-pushed and things like that, but if Julia's leaning into that, you know, that arrogance, that self-entitled nature, you know, I think it works. I think it works brilliantly. I mean, the arrogance here she had against the champion, she had no respect for Mayu whatsoever. She didn't see her as a rival, as any sort of threat to Julia. And, you know, there was no handshake. It was just another opponent, you know, shushing the crowd when they were getting too loud. That swagger that she's got, and she has certainly evolved into this character as the days, you know, the months have gone on. I don't think it's something she had to begin with, but I'm certainly seeing it more now. And especially for me, after the main event of night 2, which I know you disagree with, but she's not the complete package yet. I'm not saying that. I don't think she is. And I agree with you. If she isn't in the ring with someone special, you know, you look at her best matches, and her best matches are Tam, Mayu, and Hannah. You know, and Hannah was because the two brawled, and that was what both of them are good at. You need, at the moment, she needs someone, not to lead her. I don't think it's a case of that. I just think it's someone to bounce off, someone to...
I think it's because in her current guise, she's better as an obstacle than she is as the attraction. I'm not saying the potential's not there. She's mega young still, but like in her current, like I'd rather, like in this match, who was the most interesting? It was May. In the Hannah match, who was more interesting? It was Hannah. In the Tam match, who was more interesting? It was Tam. So Julia right now is an obstacle for a babyface to overcome, which is fine because that's sort of how she's being positioned. But like every time it's up to her to live or die, she sort of doesn't. Like, sink or swim, she sinks.
I don't think there's been enough poor Julia moments to say that she sinks.
I'm not saying it's poor. I'm saying she can be bland, extremely fucking bland. I think part of my aversion to her is because Julia fans are some of the most annoying people this side of NXT fans. Like, they get like really passionate if anyone even remotely criticizes them. That sort of makes me like just not want to approach her with a 10-foot pole. And like that's not her fault, but like a bad fandom can undoubtedly affect your enjoyment of a product. Like look at Star Wars. So
yeah, but you certainly can't tar every single Julia fan with that brush.
No, I can't tell every Julia fan with that brush, and it's definitely not all Julia fans. It's a very, very vocal, very, very fucking annoying minority.
See, I think she has improved. I think she has got the charisma. I don't find her as bland as you do. Don't get me wrong, she's certainly still not one of my favourite wrestlers, but I think there is enough there. There's enough of an evolution there for her to be a top person, for her to be a champion. And I do buy her as a champion. I do. I think she carries herself like a champion. I think she's got to improve slightly in the ring, certainly. Okay, fine. I think she's got room to improve in a character. Fine, certainly. You know, I don't think, as I said before, I don't think she is the perfect package. I don't think she's the full package. But she is getting there, and she's taking strides to get there. And I think she's confident in herself, and that confidence is going to help her to move to the next step.
I'm definitely not saying she's bad. She
no, I know you're not. I know you're not.
Like especially compared to when she came in and like she was laying eggs with Hazuki and Kagetsu, like those matches just did not live up to any sort of hype. But so like she's went from consistently having 6 out of 10s with special people to having 8 out of 10s with special people. So she's definitely is getting better, but also, yeah, I don't like for where she is on the card. I feel like they're putting her in a place in the card based on what she could be rather than what she currently is. Especially given that main event on night 2, which we'll get to.
We're going to have very different opinions of that. I did enjoy this match for what it's worth. You know, there was a great back and forth between the pair, especially that closing sequence and Mayu attempting to just go that little bit too far in her, in her passion to beat Julia. You know, she attempts to go for that moonsault when she could have just hit the 2-stage dragon and be done with it, but instead she goes for the moonsault as well on top of all the other offense she delivered to Julia. Julia scouts it, it ends up costing Mayu. Julia, though, she hits one glorious driver and then realises that she's going to have to do something completely different, brings out a variation of the glorious driver next to win the match. I don't think this classes as an upset because I think almost all of us, and I'd say us as Stardom fans, saw Julia beating Mayu. I don't think anyone had Mayu to win. Mayu, by the way, who has lost her last 5 opening days of the 5-star.
She's like Tanahashi in Vegeta 1.
She really is. Terrible opening day record. Everyone must get the record, the schedule, and just look at it and go, please tell me I got Mayu on the first day. Please tell me, I haven't got it till the final day. Shit. But yeah, overall, I thought this was great. I thought they told a decent enough story. I thought, Mayu's over-exuberance costing her plays perfectly into her character. Julia being cold, calculated, arrogant, I think that plays right into her wheelhouse. And turned into, again, I hate to keep using the same word, turned into a compelling matchup. Yeah, overall, I gave it 8 stars.
Yeah, low to mid 8, just really, really great stuff from both girls. Just my rant for Julie is just going to always be there.
It's fine. I thought the intensity was great in this match. One thing I will say, Chris, I don't agree with your opinion that she's bland, but that's your opinion. I'm not going to say you're wrong, obviously. One thing I will say is, and I think it was just in this match because I didn't see it so much in the Himika match, I found her selling in this match to be almost cartoonish. She was really, really over the top selling and almost pandering to the crowd with it. And, she didn't do it in the Himika match, but I really, really noticed it here. Proper over the top sells and then just randomly not selling things and things like that. And once I noticed it, it was really annoying, and it was something that I was going to bring up and, be like, oh, sell things, but, like I said, I don't think she did it too much against Himika. It was something I was like, it's a bit of a strange way to go about things, because I've never seen Julia selling as a real issue. In fact, I, complimented her on it. in the match against Tam, where Tam pretty much tore her knee apart. I don't know what it was. I don't know whether it was the facials or the over-the-top arm movements or what it was, but I found her selling to be really, really over the top in this match.
Maybe your favourite match is Hulk Hogan versus Shawn Michaels.
What does Brian Zane call it? Like watching an octopus in a washing machine. Post-match... Sorry, go on, just before I carry on.
Like watching a salmon.
Post-match, all of DDM are out. Of course, all DDM have got a 100% record at this point. Julia says that they should continue with their 100% record until Suri, being apparently the mischief maker of DDM, points out that they can't all be 100% because both Himeka and Julia face each other in night 2. Himeka wishes her good luck sarcastically, and that is the end of that. And this was another point that you realise just how well they have built Himeka. And I think it helps that Himeka is quite confident on the microphone. When she delivers that promo at the end of night 2, it's really quite articulate and confident and well enunciated. You know, I buy her as certainly not top of the card talent, certainly not yet. But again, she's stronger than I thought she was in that area.
Yeah, like again, Himeka and her current guys, and I think it might be her ceiling just because of where she's been pegged on the card. But like, as an obstacle, she's absolutely perfect.
Overall, Chris, what were your opinions of night 1?
I really enjoyed night 1. Again, like, no match was... I think only the opening match could remotely be considered bad, and even then I think that was just like the lower end of average. Everything else was good to great, and it all flew by because none of the matches outstayed their welcome. Again, the fact that there was fucking 8 single matches on the card didn't tire me out, like literally anything else, it would tire me out. I would watch this in like 2 or 3 sittings, but I watched this in 1 sitting, and it was fairly comfortable. So,
yeah, completely. There wasn't anything on this card that I think will touch anyone's match of the year come the end of the year, but overall, really, really, really solid card. Really, really good match. I think everyone delivered. I think the match talking about Starlight Kid versus Death, it was 3 minutes long. It was completely inoffensive, did a job. But yeah, overall, most people have got little stories to play with. The right people won. The booking was really good, and we had those token surprises with Micah defeating Momo. I'm really sorry, by the way, if I keep hiccuping. I've got cider, and I think it's gone down the wrong hole, so I'll keep hiccuping. So if you do hear that through the microphone or a burp, I really apologise. I can't control it. Anyway, let's move on to night 2. From the 9th of August, the following day again from Corrigan Hall, in front of a slightly lower attendance of 402 people. However, I don't know if you noticed this, Chris, but Jushin Thunder Liger was in attendance.
Yeah, I noticed basically we showed up during the Micah versus Saiyada match.
Oh, did they? Oh, I noticed him at the start. I didn't notice that. Bloody hell. Never mind. So the opening match, which again we're not going to review because neither of us watched it, and it was a non-tournament match, was the Queen's Quest team of Saya, Kamatani, and Rina defeated the Tokyo Cyber Squad team of Death Yamasan and Hina at 5 minutes and 15 seconds, with Saya getting the pinfall with the running shooting star press, which is still looks good, still terrifies me because she is such a tall girl and she gets such a low trajectory. Really panics me every time I see it.
Question: Why didn't we just have Rina and Hina fight and then have this tournament match?
Well, there was supposed to be 4 tournament matches, I apologise, on the 15th of August, but unfortunately they had to cancel the show 2 matches in. Because I believe someone who is not part of the group at the moment, the sort of staff for the tournament, has tested positive for COVID. So, whoever that is, we hope you obviously get very well soon. But that's why, because they were supposed to have another show in Osaka, and they couldn't because of the COVID test.
Fair. Yeah, okay. Continue. So, first match.
First match, Blue Stars with Micah defeating Saiyada at 7 minutes and 19 seconds with the cross-arm buster. Chris, what did you think of this match?
It was like the rookie version of an Ishii versus Suzuki match of your fairly well-trained sheep fighter against your brute, and it was fine. Like, nothing overtly bad, nothing overtly good. I did enjoy the surfboard stretch in front of Liger, because it cut to Liger. He didn't react, he was just sort of sitting there. But that happened, and it was nice, but gives this match a slightly above average grade. But like, other than that, I have nothing I really enjoyed, like overtly enjoyed. I do enjoy Saiyada just sort of powering into strikes. That's something I'm always going to be into. And both girls are, of course, just getting better through getting like constant singles matches. So I'm kind of looking forward to seeing like where they end up at the end of this tournament. Because, Rob, I'm doing what I did when I rewatched the G1 last year, and I'm keeping notes of all my scores so I can do averages throughout the tournament.
So look forward to that on episode 2 of our Grand Prix review later on in the month.
Christmas.
Saiyada delivering possibly the best pre-match promo, which was verbatim, "I'm definitely beating Micah today." Fair enough. That was literally it.
The point, didn't bury her opponent, but also didn't put her opponent over. Perfect promo.
My notes literally consisted of, sometimes matches don't need to be complicated. Let's just see who can hit who the hardest. And that was what it was. Micah's chest was explosive red. It was great. Saiyada consistently improving, and she's so likable, and you can't help but root for her. Really enjoyed this match. The finish came a little bit out of nowhere, but I'm not going to have that affect my score. I think I enjoyed this slightly more than you did, Chris, but I enjoyed people hitting each other very hard. So I actually gave it 7.
Oh, that is quite high. I gave it a 5.
Oh, wow. Oh. Well, in that case, you know what happens then, Chris. Because we are a democracy, that does mean it's given a 6.
Imagine that's how democracy works. It's like, well, we have an equal amount of votes for the far right and the far left, so Liberal Democrats, welcome to Parliament.
Life would just be a lot better, wouldn't it? Let's be perfectly honest.
What, with the lead debt? Let's not get into that.
Yeah, we did that once, and look what the fuck happened. We promised we'll abolish all tuition fees. Actually, scrub that. We're going to put them up by $6,000. You fucking what?
Quite. To be fair, Scotland doesn't have the Scottish government paid for my tuition fees, so
fuck off. Anyway, match 3, and I believe both me and you think this might be the sleeper hit of the opening 2 days. Red Star action with Mayu Iwatani defeating stablemate Starlight Kid at 13 minutes and 33 seconds with the modified Dragon Sleeper. Jesus Christ, Chris, this was fucking great.
Yeah, this match fucked. But like, I have one complaint about May's rare botch. She doesn't normally botch. Well, she does normally botch, but she normally finds a way to make it not look like a botch. But very sloppy start from May here. But after that, yeah, it's just really good. So, some highlights included one of the most natural setups with a 619 I've ever seen in my life.
It did work really well, didn't it?
Yeah, how often does that happen? Like, you were complaining about 619 on a podcast recently, and sort of like, yeah, this was natural and somehow managed it. Starlight kept baiting in May, which is not a game Starlight normally plays. Like how she baited her in for the apron DDT, which was ouch. Like, this sort of took away Starlight's biggest problem, which is weak looking offense, because Mayu could make anything look good.
True, she can.
Yeah, so like, even if it was weak on Kid's part, you wouldn't notice it because May's going to go out her way to make it look like she was shot. So everything worked fine. Crossbody to the outside, always a fan of that. Yeah, it's just a solid match. Like, literally, it doesn't feel like a tournament. It just feels like a solid match with Starlight trying to prove herself. You know what it really reminded me of? was Jumbo Shiruta versus Tiger Mask 2. Because Starlight obviously came in with a game plan, but she isn't quite she's not quite experienced enough to pull it off properly, which is how Mayu ended up catching her out. Because Mayu basically brute forced her way into winning this match. She kept dropping Starlight on her head and then choked her out, basically. So.
I don't know what Mayu had been smoking before the actual match. The first 2 or 3 minutes, she was all over shop. She missed the springboard by just literally just going through the ropes, and then she fell over whilst trying to lock in a Boston Crab, but it sort of played into the story. I mean, the first thing we need to note of this entire match is it was no fluke that Mayu lost to Julia. And the pre-match promo sort of give us a little bit of a clue to this. It was actually because Mayu just completely forgot to attach the tail to her costume before her match with Julia, so that's probably why Mayu lost. In all seriousness, though, that she mentions that this is going to be good for kids' development. Mayu doesn't see this as, a challenge. It's an exercise. It's a development for Starlight. She still sees Starlight as a protege, a sidekick. She's not, lovely as Mayu is, and, she gives off that persona. She doesn't see Starlight on the level of Mayu, similarly to how Io Shirai didn't see Mayu on Io's level. She really, really made Starlight up her game. And I think, those botches and things, they sort of play into the fact that Mayu wasn't taking this match seriously at all, at least not to begin with. There was moments where the kicks to the back of Starlight Kid, also while Mayu was laughing, by the way, which makes you hate her a little less, but literally smashing the back out of Starlight, and Starlight does have to up her game from this point. You got the spike DDT on the apron through the ropes, which looked amazing. Starlight delivering an absolutely amazing tornado DDT. And, once we got that, Mayu upped her game as well and was determined to win, and as you mentioned, Chris, completely brute force her way into winning. And Starlight actually got a little bit pissy, for lack of a better word. She stood on Mayu as she went to go and deliver that second rope moonsault, and she actually looked back, so it was definitely on purpose. So, there's that little bit of an edge developing for Starlight. There was a lovely, one of the most natural sort of transitions into, how can I describe it? So, Starlight's going for the Keychain bomb, rolls onto the back of Mayu, who literally just catches her and sort of works it into an inverted Alabama slam and just throws her onto the ground. It's amazing. Amazing. We then get a moment where Starlight is trying to roll out of the 2-stage dragon suplex. Mayu gets a back up, and then she does go for the Keychain bomb and drops Mayu right on her neck.
Right on her.
Oh my god. Oh.
Mayu will kill herself to make you look good.
Honestly, though, there was a moment, and you can tell it's messed her up, because she's lying on her back, and she's looking at her hand and moving her fingers. How that didn't do more damage, it reminded me horribly forcefully of the way Takahashi sort of got his neck stuck, and sort of that's how it reminded of that Phoenix Plex from Dragon Lee. That's what it sort of reminded me of, and it was just, oh my god, I was like, oh my god, we can't lose Mayu. No, thankfully we didn't, and eventually Mayu does win with the modified dragon. But I did really, really, really enjoy this match, and all the little moving parts that went with it. I enjoyed an edgier Starlight Kid as well, the fact that she had to step up again because Mayu was literally having none of it. Either you step up to me or I'm going to kick the shit into you, friend.
If she's an edgier Starlight Kid, does that make a Starlight team?
Yes, I suppose it does. I give this 8. I thought this was absolutely banging. I thought this was great.
I gave this a high 8, yeah, same as the Utami versus Jungle match for very different reasons. I preferred the dynamic here because there's like an obvious hierarchy and Kid's trying to prove she should go up the pecking order. which is something I always love. It just addressed my biggest problem with Kid, and hopefully Kid will see that and think, you know what, I'm going to start making my strikes look, which to be fair, she has been doing. So, yeah, just joint best match of the tournament for me. Great stuff.
Yet another match not won with a signature move. Just quickly to point that out. Another match that doesn't use that is match 4 on the night. So Blue Stars action with Momo Watanabe defeating Azumi at 9 minutes and 54 seconds with the cross-face chicken wing. Chris?
Chicken
wing! This match was another belter.
Oh, yeah, this match fucked. It's funny, I keep saying that and Garth keeps thinking it means something bad.
It does. You do make it sound like it means something bad, to be fair.
What? It fucked. This is great. There's this moment, and I put it in the group chat, and it scared Garth half to death. Because, so there was this kick exchange, as is standard. Azumi goes, ducks under, jumps up the ropes, jumps down, and then Momo just catches her with a kick.
Oh, you can tell it properly cleans Azumi's clock. She's not with it at all once it connects.
The beginning of the end. But yeah, this was... I didn't expect this to be as good as it was, which I guess is stupid as me, because I knew this would go under 10 minutes, Azumi matches normally do, so I was like, oh, it'll probably be fine. But then it ended up being just great. It just didn't stop throughout the whole thing. And just one big... Basically, Azumi had to get her way out of getting hit by bombs, because if Momo starts hitting with bombs, you're fucked, as sort of shown by basically everything that happened after that kick.
Yeah, it led to a rather botchy Uranagi, because I don't think Azumi actually knew where the fuck she was. It was so unpleasant to see, because there's no way that didn't come keen. I mean, oh god, it's horrible. Some of the other things though, I'll come on to the finishing sequence in a minute because I love that. Again, a really, really inventive way of Azumi getting into arm breakers and arm bars. She came off the top rope and did it for Momo, and it looked seamless, absolutely amazing. And there's a GIF on Twitter of it. I don't know who's put it up, but it just looks amazing. I really enjoyed, and we spoke about this from night one, Chris. This is where I wanted to talk about it. The adaptability of wrestlers. Azumi knows Momo. They're in a faction together. They wrestle together really regularly. So every time Momo tried to hit the B driver or the Peach Sunrise, Azumi just countered out of it. She's seen it a million times. She knew exactly how to do it. So it took something completely different in the crossface chicken wing for Momo to win, because it was something that Azumi didn't expect. And I love that. It's such a little detail, but it just adds something to the match.
Yeah, because in kayfabe, these two are probably sparring all the time. And again, it goes back to the Kid versus May dynamic, and actually it's a dynamic we had 3 times in the show, and it's a dynamic I love, of the younger people trying, obviously having a game plan. They know the key to beating their mentor, but like they don't have the skills of their mentor, so they can't quite carry out the game plan. Because as soon as the mentor sort of catches on to what your game plan is, they can just shut you down because they're better than you.
Yeah, pretty much. Azumi was on another plane tonight. She really, really was. Just the pace with which she's working. I mean, it takes something to keep up with Momo, but to almost outpace Momo, for the amount of time. I mean, I know it's only a 9-minute match, but Azumi just looked amazing. And she continues to look amazing, just like she did on night 1. But here, everything worked. Apart from, completely being KO'd by an errant knee to the face. Yeah, a really, really, really enjoyable match. And again, I gave it 8.
I gave this 8 as well. I fucking loved it.
Honestly, night 2, night 1 is good. Night 2 was great. Really,
Night
really
2
good.
Night 2 should have been the opener for me. I think this is the best match under 10 minutes this year. And it wouldn't be, but Kagetsu, just had to look this up. Kagetsu versus Tam Nakano went 15 seconds over 10 minutes.
Never mind.
So close. So, yeah, this is probably the best match under 10 minutes all year, and I don't see anything topping it.
No, I agree. Moving on then, match 5, Red Stars action. Tam Nakano defeats Konami at 10 minutes and 50 seconds with the Tiger Suplex in a match I like to call Let's Kick Each Other the Musical.
Someone should make a drum beat out of it. Yeah, this was... What I liked about this is Tam kept falling for... Konami was, setting traps and Tam kept falling for it, so Tam... Again, like Mayo earlier, had to sort of brute force her way to victory here.
Yeah, completely agree. There was one moment, Chris, which I loved, and it's a moment I wish more people did. They were on the outside, and they were fighting, and Tam was with all the sort of ring crew, all the younger members of factions that are around ringside. And, you always get that moment where someone dives into the crowd and, it takes out all of those people and your opponent. Konami just moved. It was great. So Tam comes flying off the top rope, hits all of the young faction members on the floor, and Konami has just moved and is on the apron just giggling to herself. That is fucking great, and everyone should do it.
It's my favourite thing when someone takes a trope of a wrestling promotion. Every wrestling promotion has some form of trope. When this isn't a bad thing. This is just how wrestling is, and they subvert it just because they can. They're like, well, why wouldn't I move? It's like how when it was a revelation when CM Punk kicked John Cena before he did a 5-knuckle shuffle. It's kind of like that. But yeah, once again, Konami just was on another plane here. I think it's probably my favourite performance from her all year. It's just amazing stuff. At one point, DDTing Tam from the top rope.
No, absolutely not. No.
Was what?
Looked absolutely awful to take. No. No, Chris.
None of that.
No. Just what? Oh God.
You've seen the Tiger Driver 91, right?
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah, that's something fucking else, that is. I can't beat you, so let's break your neck.
Yeah, this is probably the worst. There's some bumps that just should never have been taken. And this is... To be fair, if you look, she does kind of take it like it's like a high superplex.
Well, originally, the first time I saw it, I thought it was sort of a little bit of a botchy superplex. And then I was like, no, it's a fucking DDT. Oh, my God.
I had to rewind that.
I did as well.
I'm like, are you serious? I'm going to rewind it. And, it's just a DDT from the top. I'm trying to think of a lot. I'm sure I've seen it before, but I don't know where I've seen it.
I thoroughly enjoyed this match. I completely agree with you, Chris. Konami, she's doing some of the best work she's done. Just this cold, cynical badass who kicks the shit out of you, suits her down to the ground.
But also, she's not stupid. She's not just brute forcing away. She has she knew Tam was very kick heavy nowadays, so she used that to continuously lock in submissions because she knows she can't out-bomb Tam because Tam's just a bomber. So she just played it smart and only hit bombs when she thought Tam was worn down enough for that to work. So yeah, I'm loving Konami right now. She's like a Jay White or a Tanahashi where you can always see what her game plan is, but you never know where that's going to lead.
See, I see her more as a Zack Sabre Jr. She's clever, submission and strike based. Zack Sabre Jr. is an underrated striker.
He's a great striker. I think both comparisons hold up. She's taken good parts from several people.
Mm.
And yeah, she's really gone up in my, because I saw her sort of a Saiyada figure last year, and that might just be me not noticing it, but sort of always going to be quality, but never amazing. But now she's slowly turning into one of my favorites. So, but if she turns on Jungle, then I'm sorry, that's it. That's it. I'll never like her again if she turns on Jungle. But
what did you give this, buddy?
no, it's a great, 8 out of 10. Like, my notes of this just at the end just reads, Konami consistently catching Tam out until she was bombed into the ground was amazing. Oh, also a fucking top rope DDT.
Yeah, pretty much sums up my notes, to be fair. I gave it 8 as well. Another really good match.
I should mention, because this structure for matches sort of disproves the theory that longer matches are better. Like, I got more out of one of these 10-minute matches than I've gotten out of any New Japan main event since, I want to say, Wrestle Kingdom.
If that's not the case, there aren't many.
Yeah, but I don't know how, because I was watching some old Champion Carnival matches from 2018 a few months ago, and they'd go short as well. But when they went short, it felt quite abrupt. It didn't, when Shingo versus Kenta Miyahara went 15 minutes, that felt short. Whereas when people in Stardom go 10 minutes, it feels like a well-formed match. I'm not sure how they manage it.
Ooh, Kento. Anyway.
I was thinking an insult towards... I criticised him.
Every time now. We're going to have the Kento alarm. And every time you mention Kento, we're just going to have a little alarm that goes off in the background.
Right, fine. I'll start mentioning Goji Izaki then.
Now, this is the match I wanted to talk about. So, match number 6, which was more Blue Stars action, which saw Utami Hayashishita defeat Natsuko Toro at 10 minutes and 15 seconds via disqualification. Now, Chris, I have written you a song. Do you want to hear it?
Yes, is this going to involve you playing the guitar?
No, not at all. It's only a couple of lines long, and it is set to the popular ditty, Favourite Things from The Sound of Music. So, chair shots and sentons and use of that chain, jumping the bell and then hanging opponents, beat up officials when none of this works. These are the points of a Natsuka match. I think that sums up every single Natsuko Tora match since January.
Basically since her Hazuki match, that's been Tora's MO.
Every single fucking match, bar, ironically, night one of the fucking 5-star.
I liked this match. Can I get the nice things out of the way and then I'll let you rant?
I'm not going to rant, to be fair. I'm past ranting about Aida Tai now.
Was the song in lieu of a rant?
Can we just appreciate how well I did to fit all of that into Favourite Things?
Yeah, you did well. It didn't rhyme, but I'll forgive you. Anyway, the match itself, I liked Tora here. I thought her British character really came across, because when Utami got her hope spots, they really popped, and that's what you need, because again, Tora and the current guys is an obstacle, and Utami the favourite, so that worked. And when she started using the chain when the referee first went down, I thought that worked perfectly fine. I thought that was a natural thing to go for. It's when she started using it when the referee got up, that's when we got the shades of the Tora that we don't want, the dumb fucking idiot. Because, I'm not being funny, hanging Utami was a cool spot when the referee was down, but when the referee is up, nothing happened, because Utami didn't have a serious injury because she didn't have the chain around her for more than a couple seconds.
It made no sense.
As soon as the belt, to be honest, if Tora had done that, there's no one else in Oedo Tai in the tournament, is there? So if Tora had done that as a way to clear it for Saki and Natsu to pick up the win against Utami the next night, that'd have been fine. But there's no storyline reason to do that, and it's just a shame because I was thoroughly enjoying this match, this hot match between two bruisers, until that ending. That ending completely ruined the match for me.
It's a shame because that moment where she jumps the bell And, she's not just doing the stupid thing where she's pulling the coat over her head. She proper derailed Utami. It looked legitimately stiff, and that was great. But I agree with you completely, like, the hanging spot, that shouldn't be a spot in every fucking match. But it's every single match. We have, Konami we've had hung, we've had Utami hung, we've had other people hung repeatedly. And it's just like, for fuck's sake, it's an impactful spot if we don't see it every time you wrestle. And yet, the stuff with the referee completely blows my mind every time. Regardless, though, the moment where she puts hits Utami with 3 chairs at once is great. Then puts the 3 chairs on Utami and hits her with a senton from the apron on the floor. That was fucking great. Now, if we can get more of that brutish Tora who just wants to hurt you, instead of cut, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste offense that we've been getting for the last, what feels like 3.5 years, then I'll be invested, because that one moment, coupled alongside the actual, stiff-looking interruption of Utami's entrance, that was fucking great. But then we got back to paint-by-numbers Tora.
Yeah. It's so frustrating, because she shows glimpses of not being that, and then she doesn't. I think she might get better over that as a 5-star. Again, I'm holding my full judgment of her current character until post 5-star. But yeah, there's glimpses where I just think she definitely needs to act more on those glimpses rather than hanging people for no reason. Like, I'm not as frustrated here as I was in, say, like G128 when Tama Tonga kept getting himself disqualified, because he'd have a 15-minute match and then you get disqualified. This went less than 10. But less than 10 was really good up until the point where it wasn't.
Yeah, smidge over 10. 10 minutes and 15.
So, same time as Tam versus Gigetsu. Not as good.
I mean, I gave it 6 because ultimately, there was enough there to make it look like a different match, but it's so frustrating. It's so frustrating.
I'm struggling on what to rate this, because normally when I rate something a 5, it's because I have actively nothing that I care about. Whereas here, I have things that both actively I really enjoyed and actively annoyed me. And I can't decide which one is more prevalent. So I'm just going to go with your rating, because I literally do not know whether or not I like or hate this match.
I think that's wise. Let's go with that, buddy. Let's move on then to the semi-main of Night 2, Match 7, Blue Stars action, with Suri defeating Jungle Kiona at 12 minutes and 39 seconds with possibly the most brutal-looking Suzuka I've ever seen. That finish, that submission move, Chris, looks brutal.
Yeah, especially considering the match. So, I don't know why more people don't target Jungle's shoulder, because her moveset is about 95% lariats and powerbombs.
I'd say it's more than that, to be fair.
Yeah, and then the other ones are the Jungle Buster, which literally had her smashing you into her shoulder. So the fact that the only other match I can think of this year where someone actively went for Jungle's shoulder was B. Priestley and Jamie Hayter in the tag match at 9th anniversary. Apart from that, no one does. So it's because when you do that, so in this match, you're completely neuter Jungle Kiona. First of all, coming out in the entrances, looking like she's hungover.
Who, Jungle?
Yeah, with the glasses on and the blank expression on her face. That's me on a Sunday morning. But the match here, so again, just it's Suri completely taking down Jungle. Jungle did have her hope spots, but at the end of the day, there wasn't a ton she could do. She couldn't hold on for the Jungle Buster because the shoulder was fucked. She couldn't get her up for the hammerlock, hammer throw, I should say, powerbomb, because her shoulder was fucked. The crux of this match was Jungle's shoulder was fucked. She can't do anything, which is an amazingly effective little story device. It's probably going to affect a host 5-star much like probably Juice Robinson and G128, which makes me sad. But also it makes sense within Suri's offense because she's always shooting for armbars, she's always kicking. But like where she'd normally kick on the head, like when going into the corner, she adjusted it just a little bit so she'd hit the shoulder. I love that shit.
Yeah,
that's great. It's not notable when it happens, but more people that should just be standard. Yeah, but the problem is at that point, Jungle was basically put down about the 3/4 way mark of this match, which means you didn't really have an overly exciting finish, which didn't quite take it to great, but this was still like really good, like really, really solid stuff.
The resilience of Jungle was the main point. Yeah, as you mentioned, she was in the Suzuka for what felt like an eternity, but her determination to not lose again, to not tap out again, really added to the drama for me. And to then see her lose again, remain on 0 points, still searching for that redemption from Nagoya, then losing to the person who has now passed her in the pecking order. It's brutal. It's horrible. And Stardom would be stupid not to capitalise on this storyline. They really would. I said it episodes ago when I saw, when I'm proper patting myself on the back here. The whole story arc with Momo. Get Momo to take the belt off Mayu. Then have Jungle in that ultimate redemption after everything she went through with Queen's Quest, with Utami, with Momo. Because we didn't even mention on Night 1 the history between Utami and Jungle. But after everything that she's been through, to then take that belt off Momo, this would be the perfect storyline. The way they've booked it, to hit rock bottom, to then come back up. To watch these people who... Suri's been in the company, 5 months?
Yeah, it was the February Kirk and... It wasn't the January Kirk. It was 9th anniversary, which was 6 months.
And she's already overtaken her in the pecking order. To see that must be brutal. And then, that's still that promo that we talked about. That whole, I am useless, I am not worthy. It's just great. It's so good. So good. I gave this 8. I loved it. Despite Screamy Suri, it was great.
Very Screamy. I gave it like a high 7, close to an 8, but again, like the last, like you could tell Shuri was winning this about 3/4 of the way through, so like the last 3 or 4 minutes of this match was just sort of waiting for it to end for me.
For me, when you saw Mayu in the crowd, Suri was winning this.
Yeah.
When you've got Mayu surveying an opponent and trying to, suss out weaknesses and stuff, you're not then going to have Suri lose, are you?
Yeah. To be fair, I hope Shuri learns from Julia and doesn't target the neck, because that's just never going to work.
Speaking of Julia then, let's move on to the main event of night 2. Match 8, Red Stars action. Himeka defeating Donna Del Mondo faction leader Julia, her first singles loss since her signing, at 15 minutes and 14 seconds with, I think it's fair to say, one of the most gruesome running powerbombs.
It's a good running powerbomb. I think she could not spike it, but like put a bit more oomph into the falling, but like just from her height, it becomes devastating.
No. Sorry, Chris. I should have made that clearer. I'm not talking about the move. I'm talking about the way Julia's head bounces off the canvas. It's no wonder the poor girl had to pull out of the 15th of August show in Osaka because of bad headaches. Because honestly, I'm surprised she's not concussed. You watch it back. I watched it back 3 times. And she just hits its shoulders because of Himeka's height and because Himeka doesn't have control over because it's effectively a toss powerbomb. Just her shoulders hit and then her head just smacks the canvas and bounces back. And you can tell post-match she's not all there then. And she's holding her head during being rolled up by Himeka. So it must have absolutely wrecked. And it would not surprise me in the slightest if that's the reason she pulled out of the 15th of August before it got cancelled.
Yeah, it was nasty. In terms of the actual match, because I kind of don't want to dwell on Julia's situation until we're wrapping up. I think this is a match I prefer the context of more than I enjoyed the match itself.
Okay, talk to me about what you mean by that.
I enjoy the context of a new faction underling beating a faction leader. I enjoy that. I like that Ishii, like Arn Anderson, Ric Flair, Ishii Okada, where like you may be my leader, but I've got your number type relationship. I'm into that. I like that Julia lost. No. I like the hot nature. I liked the fact that this has sort of blown the 5-star wide open because everyone's leading in DDM apart from Julia. It's made everything more interesting. But the match itself, it was fine. Like, Himik is good, but like she's not someone that Julia needs to put on a great match. I thought there was one too many were beating the count on the last second double count out spots to be effective, especially that one where they were both on the mat about to get to 10 and then they both bust up and go, no, that's stupid. I didn't like that. Himika here plays her role perfectly because, again, she's the spoiler getting out from brute force. Like, everything was fine. Of course, Julie can't pull off as much offense as she normally would because a lot of her offense is throwing people about, and you're not going to do that with Himika. The submission game is all right. Everything was all right. Just nothing was especially amazing for me. Like, no offense overly popped until that last powerbomb that almost killed Julia. So
I enjoyed the way that Julia had to adapt her game, because usually she is the cocky, arrogant person in a match, overly confident to a fault. Yet here you've got Himika, effectively her underling, completely dominating her, being overly confident, almost out-confidenting her. That's a word. Just completely overshadowing her in every way. And Julia's ordinary offense, as you touched on, she couldn't perform, so she had to cut to a submission game. Constantly trying to work the neck, work the legs, try and cut Himika down, adopting what Tam tried unsuccessfully on night one. But what I loved, and it was the best move of the match for me, was this seamless roll into the STF, this rolling transition from Julia, and it just looked so smooth, beautiful. But I also enjoyed Julia's overconfidence finally coming back to bite her in the arse. Now, that's not because I don't like Julia, it's because it's brilliant character work. Because ultimately, what cost Julia? She'd done the submission work, she'd worked the leg, she'd worked the neck. If you'd done that, Chris, on anyone, you've done a submission game, you've gone for the leg, for the neck, would you then attempt to break out the Glorious Driver, or would you try and lock in the Stealth Viper?
No, exactly. Again, that's the story of Julia's confidence coming back to Byron Barras. That's another reason I sort of like the context more than the match, because like instead of being overconfident there, I thought Julia just seemed a bit stupid.
See, I didn't see it as stupid. I saw it as overconfidence, arrogance. She's just come off the back of beating the World of Stardom champion. I wouldn't say it was easy, but ultimately she came out quite handily on top, let's say. But to then lose to her underling in a way that she didn't see coming, she'd already had to adapt her offense because Himika is just that much bigger and that much more powerful than her. To then lose it in the way she did, and then to basically get concussed, it's her first loss on the Stardom roster, and then to lose to someone that she bought in for her faction, that's a fucking great story beat. And it makes Himika look like an absolute boss.
Yeah. I think what's an issue, I think because they want her to be a monster, you can't have her lose all that much, which is hard to book for a rookie 5-star.
It's difficult because you're not only trying to make people look strong, you are still trying to put Donna Del Mondo across as the faction, the dominant faction. So you're trying to make the 4 women in that group look strong. So at the moment, and as you touched on, it's a fantastic dynamic at the moment that the person on the least points out of that faction, the only one without a 100% record, is Julia. Now, what I would love to see, Chris, we saw Julia almost go to pieces at the fact that she'd lost a tag match. She was pinned in a tag match to the Bean Sprout Saki Kashima. You know, her words, not mine. Can you imagine what this could do to her, having lost her first singles match in front of a crowd to someone she bought in? They could proper lean on this and have her go fucking mental, and it will be great.
Yeah. Again, there's a lot of story potential coming out of this match, and I like that. I just don't think that makes the match especially great.
What was your issue with the match?
I didn't have any. Just nothing overly popped for me. Or it ultimately comes down to just how we viewed this match differently. But a lot like the difference between going for a stealth fighter and going for the glorious driver. Again, I thought that made Julie come across more stupid than cocky. I think there was better ways to get the cockiness across. I thought that there was too many close encounters with a draw. I thought they were being a bit too cute with that. I'm not saying it was a bad match. I'm just saying it did not blow me away. Like there was nothing in this match until the ending that really stands out to me. It's something I like the implications of more than I like it itself. You know, it's like Jurassic Park. Well, I like the theory of Jurassic Park more than I actually like Jurassic Park.
Are we talking old Jurassic Park or new Jurassic Park?
I watched Jurassic Park for the first time ever last week, and I didn't like it very much.
Is it because you're scared of dinosaurs?
No, it's not because I'm scared of dinosaurs.
It's fine, mate. This is a safe place. If you're scared of dinosaurs, just tell me you're scared of dinosaurs.
I'm not scared of dinosaurs.
I'm not scared of dinosaurs.
It's just, I thought the T-Rex was cool, but everything around it kind of wasn't.
Yeah, fair enough. Can't really argue with that. So moving on to the post-match then, Himeka steals Julia's place in the DDM pose after hilariously saying, all of us are unbeaten. Oh no, wait. All of us have 100% records. Oh no, wait. And before all of that, just went, for all of you guys who love Himeka. Oh no, wait. Oh, absolutely savage. Get some aloe vera because Julia has been burned. I absolutely love that. Absolutely just the unnecessary kicking of Julia while she was down. Loved it. I didn't enjoy the fact that Julia, her clock had clearly been rung and she just sort of couldn't stand. She looked really, really off. So fingers crossed she gets better soon because it looked a really rough landing. Coming out of these 2 days, Chris, how are you feeling about Himeka?
Again, I think her role as spoiler is being played really well. But she's green. She's fairly obviously green, and that makes sense because she's not been wrestling all that long. The more experience she gets, the better she's going to be. I think when she goes against someone like Mayu, it's going to be she has some barnstormers in her, but much the same thoughts I have with Saiyada or Maika, where they're playing both roles fine, but we just need to get more experience. Which, again, isn't a knock on her because it's just the reality of it. She's been going for about a year, so.
And I think that is what a tournament like this is going to be absolutely amazing for. And I think we're going to see a lot of progression, if not character-wise for someone like Saiyada, but certainly in ring. When you look at who she's got in her block, she's going to have some blow-away matches. Fingers crossed. Overall, these 2 nights, brilliant. The booking was great. I can't fault one result. Not one of these matches fell below a passing grade. Every single one of them was good to a brilliant. I still don't think there's that match that's a match of the year contender as of yet, but there was some absolute blowaway matches. Utami Jungle was great. Mayu versus Starlight was great. Konami versus Tam was amazing. In fact, that run of 4 matches on night 2, from Mayu up until I think it was Konami, those 4 matches were absolutely amazing, and I would actively encourage you to go and watch those. Are there any matches that I've missed, Chris, that you thought were brilliant? Is there anything you want to add overall before I go through the block standings as it stands in this early stage?
I think everything's worth checking out just because even the stuff that's not blow away isn't going to take up a bunch of your time. In a world where seemingly everyone is obsessed with half-an-hour epics, like you'll be hard-pressed to find a major wrestling show in the last, I want to say, 2 years, be it like AEW, WWE, NXT, New Japan, Noah, or Japan, that doesn't have half-hour main events, and like this sort of proves that the industry standard is stupid. Like how we have 15 matches here, all of which are below 16 minutes, all of which uphold the industry standard without taking away half my fucking day. So this is why I like Stardom, like they can make a sprint feel like a fully realised match, which is an issue a lot of places have, where like a sprint feels like a sprint.
Yeah.
Whereas here, it's like, but like I get those 3 matches you mentioned, as well as the 2 mains on night 1, they feel like they've condensed a 20-minute story into half that time.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more.
As opposed to like a lot of, especially like takeover matches or New Japan main events, where it felt like they've taken a 15-minute story and stretched it into half an hour. So.
Yeah, conforming to what they feel like it needs to be, as opposed to, organically trying to produce a match. Yeah, I get that.
They just put what they need to put out there and then leave it at that.
Completely agree. So currently, Blue Star's standings are thus. Topping the block is currently Utami Hayashishita with 4 points, followed by Suri and Maika, both on 4 points. Momo Watanabe and Azumi are both on 2 points, and then bringing up the rear are Jungle Kiona, Natsukatora, and Saiyada, who are all on 0 points. Red Star standings, the first and possibly the biggest surprise at the moment is that Himika heads the block with 4 points, the only one in Red Stars with a current 100% success rate. Mayu and Julia and Tam, Konami and Starlight Kid all follow with 2 points and 1 victory each, with Saya Kamatani and Death Yama-san both on 0 points, but both having had 1 less match. The reason for that is, obviously, as we touched on before, the Osaka show on the 15th, which was to have 4 block matches on it, and I'll go through those in a moment, had to be cancelled partway through the show because of a positive COVID test. Again, wasn't part of the camp that was there. It was someone who was away from the camp. They didn't name names, which is, absolutely what they should have done. They did make the correct decision in the wake of safety and cancelled the event, meaning that these 4 matches will be scheduled for other events. So the matches that should have taken part on the 15th were Utami versus Momo, which would have been absolutely amazing, but thankfully we still get it. Jungle Kiona versus Tora, where presumably one of them would get off 0 points. An all Donna Del Mondo affair between Suri and Maika, and then Death Yama-san versus Saya Kamatani. Looking forward, Chris, the next 2 dates in the 5-Star Grand Prix are the 29th of August in Nagata and the 30th of August in Takaoka. Now, I just want to quickly read through the matches that we actually have got scheduled at the moment. It wouldn't surprise me if some of the matches from the 15th are moved to these two dates. Currently, on the 29th of August in Niigata, we have got Jungle versus Azumi, which is tasty. Natsukatora versus Maika. Julia versus Konami. Again, that could be great. Saya Kamitani versus Mayu. And Death Yamasan versus Himeka. On the 30th in Takaoka, which is where I imagine most of the matches from Osaka will be tagged on, we have got Momo versus Saya, Konami versus Starlight Kid, and Tam Nakano versus Saya Kamitani. Is there anything there that jumps out at you, Chris, that you're looking forward to?
Konami versus Julia rematch sounds really good. Of course it does. I think Saya Kamitani will definitely have her best match against May, unless May destroys her.
Yeah, 30-second squash.
Yeah. It all sounds good. Like, there's not a single match in the 5-star I can think of that I'm dreading, because even if I don't like it, it'll be gone in 5 minutes anyway. So.
Yeah, exactly. I think Jungle versus Azumi could be good. Momo versus Saya, I think, will also be good. Then, obviously, the matches that were supposed to take place on the 15th, Utami versus Momo, not Jungle versus Tora. Suri versus Maika will be an interesting dynamic. But overall, yeah, those are your 5-star matches to look forward to. Of course, in the midst of all of this, because why the fuck would you do something simply, we also have the two matches at the 2 nights at the Yokohama Budokan on the 22nd and the 23rd of August, right in the middle of all this 5-star nonsense. So I'm not going to run... Say again, sorry?
They're charging for the live stream on both shows.
What do you mean they're charging for the live stream?
There's going to be a live stream where they're charging 4,400 yen each for the live streams.
On top of what we pay for Stardom World?
I'm just going to wait for the VODs to go up, to be honest.
Right.
The VOD is not being charged for I think it's on Fight TV or something.
I think I've seen this. How much is 44 yen?
No, it's 4,400 yen.
How much is that?
About 30-something quid.
Bloody hell.
Think about it this way. Stardom World is 900 yen a month.
That's a lot of money.
That is a lot. I'm fine waiting for the VOD.
Yeah, so am I. Just quickly then, just going to quickly whip through these Yokohama Budokan cards once again. I'm only going to do it quickly because we have already discussed this in the previous episodes. Go and check that out in the archives. On the August 22nd show, we've got Hanan and Itsuki Hashino, who again, it's her last match, last 2 nights, versus Hina and Rina. Azumi versus Saiyada. Jungle Kiona, Konami, and Death Yamasan versus Natsukatora, Saki Kashima, and Natsu Sumiya. Of course, that does depend on how Saki Kashima is. Again, we wish her all the best. Tam Nakano, Starlight Kid, and Riho versus Mima Shimoda, Yuna Manase, and Super Strong Stardom Machine. Utami Hayashishita versus Himeka, because that is going to be tasty. Future of Stardom title match, Maika versus Saya Kamitani. Special singles match, Julia versus Momo. World of Stardom title match, the main event, Mayu Iwatani versus Suri. Moving on to August 23rd, 5-way battle, Death Yamasan versus Ruaka versus Hanan versus Hina versus Rina. It's Suki Hashino, which will be her last match, versus Saiyada. Riho versus Natsu Sumiya. Jungle Kiona and Konami versus Natsukatora and Saki Kashima. Mayu Iwatani versus Momo Watanabe in special single action. High-speed title match between Azumi versus Starlight Kid. The Goddesses of Stardom title match with Utami and Saya, the current champions, taking on Himeka and Maika. And then your main event, the Wonder of Stardom title match between Julia, the champion, and Tam Nakano. Before we sign off, Chris, is there anything that you want to say regarding those shows? Anything else you want to add very briefly about the 5-star in general?
I can't believe Super Stardom Machine isn't in the 5-star.
Can you imagine the scenes? Can you imagine as she strolls down?
she'd beat everyone, so like it would make it a boring tournament, but still.
Right. Well, thank you for joining us, everyone. We really do appreciate it. Just a couple of dates for your diaries, fingers crossed. And again, this is all dependent on Stardom's VOD service and when they put everything up. On the 6th of September, we will be reviewing the shows from the 29th and the 30th regarding the 5-star. If it has been released, and if we've seen it, because that's a lot of Stardom to watch, we will also try and review the 22nd and 23rd shows at Yokohama on the 6th of September. Fingers crossed. If we haven't, it will be a couple of days after. It will be about there, though. That's what we're shooting for. And then for the next set of 5-star dates, we're looking at recording on the 20th of September and then the 26th or the 27th of September, depending on when the entire cards are up. So yeah, thank you so much for listening, guys. Don't forget to subscribe to the podcast wherever you get your podcasts. We're everywhere: Apple, Spotify, Google Play, Stitcher, absolutely everywhere. Go and subscribe, give us a 5-star rating. It really does help the podcast out. Go and check out the website, www.podmania.co.uk, where you can listen to all the archived episodes and check out our match ratings for shows such as the 5-star that we've just talked about. Go and check out Chops, Kicks, and Near Falls, who have just started the Dragon Suplex Network, which we are a part of, so go and check them out. I really hope I've said that right. Yep, Chop, Kick, Near Falls, just had to check. You can check the...
Riverfest.
Absolutely. You can check the podcast out on Twitter at the StardomCast. You can talk to me on Twitter at RealRobGoodwin. Chris, where can they find you?
Out Real Kevin Nash.
Why Kevin Nash? Why Kevin Nash today?
I looked up my on Twitter, and it's the first one I came across.
Good stuff, solid stuff. In the meantime, guys, thank you so much for listening, and we'll talk to you guys again soon.